I don't even have to have a hook for this story as it left me speechless. Hi, my name is Ethan and here's everything you need to know in under 1 minute. This is 56-year-old Billie Davis. On the evening of January 11th, 2023, she was riding the Bloomington Transit bus when an 18-year-old girl had got out of her seat to exit. Out of nowhere, Billie got up and then began beating and stabbing the 18-year-old girl in the head. As soon as it started, it stopped. Billie then got off the bus and walked away. Thankfully, one of the passengers on the bus did follow Billie and eventually called authorities to let them know where her location was. This is the part that really enraged me. Once in custody, she told police that she wanted to unalive the victim due to her, quote, being Chinese, as it would be one less person to blow up the country, end quote. According to reports, she is now facing up to life in prison for attempted murder.
Things that bother you, they never bother me.
I will be showing the video, but nonetheless, hi, my name is Ethan and here's everything you need to know in under 1 minute. In September of 2017, 31-year-old Laura Wallen vanished into thin air. Her boyfriend Tyler Tessier had played the part of the worried boyfriend desperate for answers. However, he was living a double life. He had a fiance and he feared that Laura would expose her pregnancy. The night of her unaliving, Laura texted her friend and stated, "Tyler has taken me to an open field in Damascus. I'm not sure why we're here, but it's in the middle of nowhere." Her body was found a few days later. Sam and Colby eventually uploaded a video where they were in the same area at the same time and they captured a woman begging for help. Here's the video.
What the? Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that. Somebody is screaming.
Someone's screaming bloody murder. Whoa. Guys, what the you hear that? Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm Sergeant Ramsey. I'm the one that called you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man. He's been killed. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
Listen.
No.
Try to calm down.
No.
Listen, right now we need to get you to the station.
No.
We need to get you to our police station.
I want to see him.
I can't let you see him, man. We have to do our job. If you want us to find this killer, okay? We need you to calm down. I'm gonna need you to go with these detectives, okay? Does he have enemies? Is there anyone that would want to hurt him? Okay, who would want to hurt him? Witnesses said they saw a black male running from you. I can't let you see him, ma'am. Ma'am, I cannot do this right now. Ma'am, I can't do it. Detective Yopi, I need you to take her to the station. I can't. Ma'am, go with these detectives. If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control. And we'll take care of everything else, okay? Thank you, guys.
Protocol that we have to do with this with your wife. We got to advise you your rights, so you know, okay? If you don't understand any of them, you just tell me, and I'll stop and repeat. And first of all, let me just tell you, I'm sorry for your loss.
I just want to see my husband, please.
All right.
I love my husband. I love you, too.
No, you don't want to see him.
I just want to see him.
Believe me, you don't. Could you listen, please? This is something, because we're going to videotape, that I need you to sign also. It gives us the right to videotape it. You want to read that?
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
Whose number is that?
That's your home number.
Oh.
Okay. Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
Dahlia recounts Michael's entire criminal history in vivid detail, gives multiple reasons as to why someone would want him dead, and even names a potential suspect, who in reality had nothing to do with the situation, and was only a former business associate. The lead investigator returns 16 minutes later.
Now, you know that I advised you of your rights, right?
Yes, you have.
Okay. The game's over with. Okay? There's no more games with you and I. Now we're going to get down to serious business. I want to know if you know this guy. Come here. Bring this guy in here. Get over here. Get over here.
They bring in the undercover cop who remains in character, acting like he's been caught, but refuses to allege Dahlia's involvement. She happily plays along.
You know who this guy is?
No,
You've never seen him before.
I've never seen him before. Ever.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen him.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Get him out of here.
Dahlia was able to use her looks to get what she wanted out of life, which of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. People do what they can to get by, which sometimes means relying on physical appearance, and in some cases they have no other option. Yet the majority of those who navigate life in this manner do so without intentionally hurting anyone. Dahlia went out of her way to not only hurt, but to literally slaughter the person whom she had tricked into falling in love with her, and for no other reason than monetary gain. She hadn't come from a broken home, nor was she a battered wife. There were no mitigating circumstances whatsoever, only the cold-blooded pursuit to get what she wanted, how she wanted, impartial to the suffering she would cause as a result. In the next moments, her karmic debt will have finally caught up, and for perhaps the first time in her adult life, neither sex appeal nor her fabricated charm will be enough to save her from the consequences of her actions.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't do
Everything,
anything.
listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in his car in the front of CVS. What do you want to do?
Oh my God.
What do you want to do here,
I didn't do
Dahlia?
anything.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going
I
to
didn't
jail.
do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Tell me you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today. As soon as I'm done,
Oh my God.
they're going to come in here and handcuff you and take you to the Palm Beach County Jail, book you for solicitation of first-degree murder on your husband. Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Please, can I see him?
No, he doesn't want to see you.
I'm so hard to see him.
He doesn't want to see you.
Please.
You better quit your plan. Listen to me.
Oh my God.
I want you to quit your acting and get this over with. He doesn't want to see you.
Please.
You better quit your plan. Listen to me.
Oh my God.
I want you to quit your acting and get this over with.
You know what?
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Okay. You know what? You need a real good attorney. You need a real good attorney because we're going to show them the film where you say you're 5,000% sure you want him dead. You think I made that up? You think I made that up? It's exactly what's going to happen. I'm talking with you. When I leave this room, no other officer will ever talk to you again. Next time we see you is when you're in trial. You can make it right here, or you're going to trial, and you're going to do life in prison. If you want to cooperate with us, whatever you want to do. It's over and done once I walk out. I'm not coming back in to talk to you. And no one else is either. What do you want to do before I leave here? Because the next officer comes here, going to handcuff you and take you to the
I'd like
jail.
to see my husband, please.
No, he doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to see you. I'm leaving now. Can I have an officer come in here and cuff the person?
I don't know what's going on, please.
We'll go ahead and arrest her for solicitation of first-degree murder.
I don't know what's happening, please.
Can you stand up?
Stand up, please.
Oh my God.
Dahlia is then granted her fraudulent wish and comes face to face with her husband.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here. Come here, please. Come here.
Can't fix it.
Why not? I didn't do anything
I
to
heard
you.
you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
Okay. Wait. We'll take her back to Brooklyn, please.
Dahlia was given roughly 15 minutes in her cell to calm down and have reality sink in. She was then brought back to the interrogation room, where two less confrontational detectives would pursue a confession. They were hoping the immediate switch from hostility to patience would influence her compliance.
Have you been advised of your rights before? Such as your Miranda rights?
Yeah, but I wanted to make a phone call.
Okay. Earlier this morning, Sergeant Sheridan read you your rights from that card, right? And you understood your Miranda rights, your Fifth Amendment rights?
Yeah, but I wanted to make a phone call.
Okay, so phone call, we will let you do that later. Not right now, though.
But while I'm still here,
Yeah, later on we will. Okay? If you want to,
Did you understand your rights or you didn't understand them?
I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay.
But yes, to everything.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and read them again. Okay? And if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask me and I'll explain them to you. Okay?
okay, you understand your Fifth Amendment rights now? All of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I go to the regular restroom, please, before we start? Is that okay?
Is it an emergency?
I didn't feel comfortable going in the other one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I
No
won't
problem.
go
No problem.
You mind if I call you Dahlia?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Alright. Do you understand what happened today? What's going on here?
A little.
Okay.
Now, slowly, I'm understanding a little bit better.
What's your understanding?
I was told one thing, and now it's like slowly, like all these things are. I don't really know what happened.
Do you know that you are arrested today? You're being arrested.
That part I understood.
Okay. Do you know what for?
Not really,
You don't
no.
know the charge?
No, nobody said anything.
Okay, go ahead and tell her the charge, Alex.
Okay. You're being arrested for soliciting to commit murder. Okay, which that means is you attempted to hire someone to kill somebody else, meaning your husband. Okay? And that's why you're here and that's what you're getting charged with.
Okay, no.
And that's why you're here and that's what you're getting charged with.
Okay, no.
No, you don't understand or...
No, I never did that.
Okay, but that's what you're being charged with,
Okay.
and we have plenty of evidence to back it up. Okay? So, with your rights in mind, we want to give you an opportunity to do some soul searching maybe, and maybe get a lot off your chest and tell us the truth. That's what we want to hear.
The evidence against her was overwhelming, hence the lack of interrogation techniques being initiated. The detectives feel that this is an open and shut case, and whether the suspect chooses to confess at this moment or not, they believe the eventual outcome will be the same.
I mean, this has been worked for a couple days now. It's not just the first day we're doing this, reference to this case, and we have a lot of information to support our charge. It's just not a quick little thing. So, you know, we don't know when you're lying to us and all that. We just want to hear the truth. I mean, it's done. It's over with now, you know, and this is your opportunity to tell us the truth. That's all we want to hear, and we know the truth. So, I know it's hard to commit to that, but now's your time, you know. Do you have anything to say about this?
I'm going to talk to my husband.
Okay, well, you can't talk to your husband. He's not here right now. Let him go home. He's taking care of the house and the dogs, so.
The good thing about this whole thing is that nobody got killed. The tragedy was prevented today.
Yeah.
You could look at it that way, you know? That's simple.
A big tragedy. I mean, someone's life, so. Everything's on tape, Dahlia. There's no denying it. You know? Everything's on tape, and it's not a bluff, so.
You gotta understand this, okay?
Donna, listen to me for a second,
I didn't
okay?
do anything.
Listen to me for a second, okay? This is not our first day, okay? It's definitely not our second day, all right? This is an ongoing investigation, all right? Not only do we have you on videotape, we have every conversation that you had leading to this point, all right? So for you to sit here and deny that you haven't done anything, it's not going to help. Every little thing that you've done since this started, we've been involved in it. Do you understand that? I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. That's the truth. All right. Well, unfortunately, you're not going home. Okay? You're looking at some serious charges here. Do you understand that you made the attempt to hire somebody to kill your husband? That's how serious this is. Okay? You can sit here and shake your head and deny it, but I'm gonna tell you right now. All right? When the jury and the judge sees that videotape of you having this conversation, making a deal, all right? That's how far you went, all right? It wasn't it. It's not about denying it wasn't me, I didn't do anything, because the video, the audio, it's not going to lie.
You sound like a fool right now denying this, because like my partner just said, everything's on tape, video and audio.
I just want to go home.
I know, but you're not going home, you see? You're being arrested, so you're not going home.
So what do I have to do to go home? I'd like to go home.
I know, but you can't. It's impossible. You're going to the Palm Beach County Jail after this. You can't go home. You're being arrested. This is not a game. In your mind, it might be a little game, but this is very, very serious. Murder? Are you kidding me? Try to have someone.
Let's talk about the true story behind Candy on Hulu and Love and Death on HBO Max and how Betty Gore was axed 41 times. Betty Gore was born on January 9th, 1950, and while she was attending college, she met a teaching assistant named Alan Gore through one of her classes. Two of them immediately hit it off, they began dating, and in 1970, Alan and Betty decided to get married. Soon after their wedding, they had their first daughter named Alyssa, and after this, they decided to move to the small town of Wiley, Texas to start a new life. Now, at first, their marriage seemed to be great. They were very in love with each other, and they were excited to grow their family. However, according to reports, Betty did struggle with anxiety and occasional depression. Alan would often have to travel for work, so this meant that Betty was home alone with Alyssa, and this would just cause her a lot of anxiety. She would constantly be calling his office to check in on him. She would call the hotel he was staying at just to talk to him. The traveling was causing a lot of issues in their relationship, and since they had just moved to a new town, Betty didn't really have a lot of friends. She wanted to be more active in the community, so she decided to join her local church, and that's when she began making friends. She started to become friends with a woman named Candace Montgomery, also known as Candy. Both sang in the choir, and the reason they started to become closer is because Betty's daughter, Alyssa, started to grow closer to Candy's daughter. Now, a little bit about Candy. She was married to a man named Pat Montgomery, and the two of them lived a very comfortable life in Wiley, Texas. Her husband had a very good job, so she was able to stay home and take care of their two kids. And she had a very nice house. They actually called her house the party house because that's where everyone would get together to hang out. She was friends with everyone in the community. I mean, she was kind of like your typical PTA mom. Even though Betty had joined the church and had started making new friends, things between her and Alan were still not good. She even confided in her friend Candy and told her that her and Alan did not have sex. She just didn't know what else to do or how to get the sparks going again. However, Betty ended up getting pregnant with a second daughter, and she thought that this would change things between her and Alan. And it somewhat did. He was excited about their second daughter. Candy was excited about this as well. She even threw Betty a baby shower at her own house. Alan even told Betty that they were going to take a trip to Europe, just the two of them without children, so that they could reconnect and just be with each other. So it seemed like things were going well. On Friday, June 13th, 1990, Alan was away on a business trip in Minnesota, and Betty was at home taking care of their newborn daughter and getting everything ready for their trip to Europe. Their oldest daughter, Alyssa, actually spent the night at Candy's house, and she was supposed to come back later that day because she had swim practice. However, Alyssa and Candy's daughter really wanted to have another sleepover, so Candy called Betty and asked her if it was okay if Alyssa spent another night there. Betty told Candy that Alyssa had swim practice, and that's when Candy offered to go to Betty's house, pick up the swimsuit, and take Alyssa to practice. So Betty agreed to this plan. Later that morning, Candy stopped by Betty's house to pick up the bathing suit, and then she left. As the day continued to progress, Alan called the house just to check in on Betty, but he wasn't able to get in contact with her. He called one of the neighbors to go check on Betty, and that's when they discovered that Betty was dead. Okay, more in part 2. This is part 2 on the true story behind Candy on Hulu and Love and Death on HBO Max and how Betty Gore was axed 41 times. So when a couple of the neighbors went to the Gore house, they realized that the front door was unlocked. They walked inside and they could hear baby Bethany, which was Alan and Betty's newborn baby, crying. They went to go look inside baby Bethany's bedroom, and that's when they realized that she was completely alone. The neighbors continued walking around the house looking for any signs of Betty. And when they walked inside the laundry room, that's when they discovered the body of 30-year-old Betty Gore. The neighbors say that this scene was absolutely horrific. There was blood all over the walls, all over the floor, and Betty was almost unrecognizable. Neighbors called the police, and they also called Alan and told him that his wife was dead. Alan just couldn't believe it, and one of the first things he did after hearing this news was that he called Candace Montgomery and let her know that her best friend was dead. Candy was just as shocked. I mean, she was at Betty's house earlier that day picking up a bathing suit. She told Alan that everything seemed fine earlier and she doesn't understand how this happened. Investigators immediately arrived to the scene and they determined that the murder weapon was an axe that belonged to Betty and Alan. They found axe wounds on her face, head, hands, arm, torso, and legs. She had a total of 42 wounds, 28 which were to her head and face. Based on the amount of overkill, police believe that whoever killed Betty did this in a state of rage and that this was a crime of passion. As usual, police looked into the husband first, but he had a solid alibi. They asked Alan, okay, do you have any enemies? Do you know of anyone who might have done this to your wife? Alan said he had no idea who could have done this, that all he knew is that Candy had stopped by earlier that day to pick up Alyssa's bathing suit, and that was it. So police go speak to Candy and she basically tells them the same thing. And police don't really suspect she's lying about anything because they honestly believe that a man is the one that did this. Based on the amount of overkill and the amount of strength it would have taken to swing this axe over and over again, they honestly believe that a woman could not have done this. So police go back to Alan to see if he has any other information that could help, and that's when Alan tells them, I have to tell you something. And he tells the police that he was having an affair with Candy Montgomery. Yes, he was sleeping with his wife's best friend. Alan said that the affair started in 1978, just 2 years before Betty's death. That this all started after the two of them reached for the same ball during a church volleyball game. Apparently, Candy was bored in her marriage and she had been wanting to start an affair for some time. So she asked Alan, do you want to have an affair with me? And the two of them even made a pros and cons list about what this affair would mean. In the end, they decided to have an affair, so they would meet up at hotels together, they would go on lunch dates, all while Alan is still married to Betty and while Candy is pretending to be Betty's best friend. I mean, she even threw Betty a baby shower, knowing that she was sleeping with her husband this entire time. After the birth of their second daughter, that's when Alan decided to end the affair. And apparently Candy was not happy about this. Detectives bring Candy down to the police station, they re-interview her, and they ask her if she'll take a polygraph test. And Candy says no. Police start looking for more evidence to tie it back to Candy, and that's when they discovered a bloody footprint found in the freezer inside the laundry room. They also found a pair of sunglasses and blood in the shower. Go to part 3. The final part on the true story behind Candy on Hulu and Love and Death on HBO Max and how Betty Gore was axed 41 times. Investigators find the bloody thumbprint, they also find a pair of sunglasses, and they also discover blood in the bathroom, meaning that whoever killed Betty showered in Betty's bathroom to get rid of the blood. It's crazy, I know. After finding all of this evidence, they realize that it all leads back to Candy Montgomery. So on June 27th, 1980, 30-year-old Candace Montgomery was arrested and charged for the murder of Betty Gore. She actually turned herself in, and as she was changing into her prison clothes, staff members noticed that she had bruises and a cut on her foot. And they believe that she got these cuts and bruises while she was swinging the axe up and down. Her trial began in August of 1980, and at first she pleaded not guilty. However, on the 8th day of her trial, her defense team changed her story and they said that yes, Candy did kill Betty, but that it was in self-defense. So this is what Candy claims happened. That day, she went to Betty's house to pick up the bathing suit, and when she got there, Betty confronted her and asked her, are you having an affair with Alan? At first, Candy denied it. She said no, she was not having an affair with her husband, but that's when Betty told her, I know the truth, and she showed Candy these love letters that she found between her and Alan. So she could not deny the love letters, and that's when she decided to admit to the affair. Then she says Betty walked away, went over to the laundry room, and when she came back, she was now standing there holding an axe. According to Candy, Betty started to attack her and she pushed her inside the laundry room. She tried to run away, she tried to fight back, but she says that Betty would not stop swinging the axe. Betty and Candy were shouting at each other, they were fighting, and this commotion ended up waking up Betty's newborn baby, Bethany. Bethany started crying, and that's when Candy says Betty turned to her and shushed her. And according to Candy, that triggered her. She grabbed the axe from Betty and began hitting Betty with the axe over and over again. She hit her over 41 times, and the only reason she stopped is because she got exhausted. After that, she dropped the axe, walked over to the bathroom, took a shower, and then left. She left Betty there dead in the laundry room with baby Bethany all by herself crying. After this, she went to church, she picked up her kids, including Betty's kid, Alyssa. She took Alyssa to swim practice and then went to the movies later that night. The fact that she was just hanging out with Alyssa, taking her to swim practice, taking her to the movies, knowing that she had just murdered her mother is insane. Now, she says that the was a trigger because her mother used to always shush her when she was younger, and that just sent her into a frenzy. Now, the prosecution was not buying this theory. They said that Candy could have easily walked away. She didn't need to grab the axe and axe Betty 41 times. And yes, if it was self-defense, maybe she could have axed her, 1 to 2 times, but 41 times is overkill. But in less than 4 hours on October 29th, 1980, the jury came back and they said that they found Candy Montgomery not guilty. To this day, Betty Gore did not receive the justice that she deserved. My thoughts and prayers go out to Betty's family, and it's just really heartbreaking how Candy to this day claims that it was just self-defense. Hulu and HBO came out with a series about what happened to Betty Gore, but just remember that it is over-dramatized and that it's not all factual.
So when I lose myself, won't you